Yeah.
And then another hour to get her to tell. Well, my mom's like 70 years old, so I mean.
Well, but we hit the plateau on Stardust. We got our star next to us. That's going to allow us. First of all, they're going to promote our content on Stardust app. The reactions that we put up. They're going to let us know about promotions with movie studios and things like that, which could lead to interviews for the show, which of course will all come to you guys, and possibility of some cool swag stuff from movies, and possibly going to movie premieres. That would be really cool. So a big key thing in the Nerd Rage Renegades. We said 2018 was going to be our year. And it's starting off with a fucking bang.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get on that. I gotta set it up some other way because it doesn't seem to want to work with the phone I have right now.
We'll get you set up. We'll get you set up for that.
It looks like fun. It's like you get like 28, 30 seconds or something to do a review. But you can review stuff, make little videos, whatever.
TV, movies, trailers, and especially I'm a big trailer watching guy. Chief's a big television guy. So that just works out for us. And plus, everybody reviews the same movies. You're going to go to our channel. You can see some of the weird shit that we watch and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff.
We're going to get you on there.
Speaking of weird stuff, I finally got the 20th episode of Kolchak that I was missing. So now I have them all.
Awesome. I'm drinking Arnold Palmer Southern Style half and half sweet tea and pink lemonade. Ooh, wait.
Always cherry Kool-Aid, my favorite
choice. And speaking of Stephen Wilds, he wild.
It's his game now.
It's his game. What, Chief? What can you do?
What can you do?
That little Ray. Stephen actually, as everybody knows, probably, hopefully. Not only do you hear the Nerd Rage Renegades on all the platforms that we are on, but also we upload them to YouTube now, to our YouTube channel. And last week's episode on Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, strongest Hulk there is, Chief.
That's how I hashtagged it.
We got a comment from Stephen Wilds, a couple questions. First of all, he says, Southpaw Regional Wrestling is amazing. I agree with you 100% on that. There's nothing... Southpaw is amazing. He said the French-made Fantastic Four cartoon was good.
Yeah, that's the one I think that we were talking about, the one that looks kind of anime.
Yeah.
I think that's the newer, like 2004 or so. I don't remember when it came out.
The 90s Marvel cartoons were fantastic, all of them, even the bad ones like Iron Man and the Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer wasn't bad at all. I loved it. It was a little highbrow for a little kids show. Because it got into some of the heavy cosmic Marvel shit that it's like I was watching it like as a young adult when it came out, and I was like, this is pretty fucking highbrow for me. Like, this is some pretty hardcore science fiction-y Marvel stuff they're trying to pass off as a little kid's cartoon.
He says the Maestro is the best Hulk. Because, of course, that's old Hulk from the Old Man Logan time period. Isn't the story Chief is asking about just Hulk the End? I know I've read the one he mentioned.
Yeah. That's what it's called. Yeah, he's right.
And he goes, okay, so this is a question. He says, okay, so Hulk gets shot with an arrow by a Hawkeye and comes back in Secret Empire, but did they say he came back via the Cosmic Cube or what? They did say he actually was resurrected. First of all, he was resurrected twice. One in Secret Empire and then one in another book. I want to say maybe Uncanny Avengers or something like that. The first one, I want to say it was the Hand that brought him back, and it was only for a short period of time. And then in Secret Empire, Arnim Zola resurrected him, and it was only for a short period of time. So it wasn't the Cube, it was Arnim Zola that did it. And now, Chief and I just read the first 3 parts of Avengers No Surrender today.
Yeah.
Which is the storyline where Banner Hulk is supposedly to be coming back fully. And an interesting story arc. Very interesting.
And I don't think... It's been out 3 weeks now. It'll be out 4 weeks by the time you hear this. And the first part... I'm only going to spoil one thing from the first part of it. There's apparently the Grandmaster is playing a game with what they're leading us up to believe to be Thanos. I don't think it's going to be Thanos.
I don't think it's Thanos. It doesn't like they showed like like a partial of the face, and it doesn't look like Thanos.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's going to be.
Because I see a reason.
The Black Order is involved.
Yeah, and anytime I get to see Black Swan, I am all for it. I love Black Swan. I love her character.
I was talking to you a little bit earlier about it, and it seems like it's just some of the dialogue in it is just, it doesn't seem like the way people really talk. I don't know. To me, like guys like Mark Waid are great at doing runs of books and of like having a title, but like these event kind of things seem to like stumble him and Bendis. It's like their dialogue's kind of stilty, and some of it doesn't add up. Like, where's everybody? Like, I didn't understand where everybody else was at for one thing in this.
Yeah.
Because like they say it's about most of the Avengers they call up, and they just show the Avengers that freeze in mid stride, and they don't show like where any of the X-Men are, where like anybody else is.
The only X-Men is Beast. That's the only
one.
But he's
an Avenger. But Wolverine was an Avenger. They didn't show Wolverine anywhere.
Well, he's shown up in post-credit scenes in different books. They actually have it in there in the comics. Look for this little logo that says "Where is Wolverine?" and that lets you know there's like a Wolverine
I've seen him
epilogue. There was one
popping up.
Yeah, there was one in Mighty Thor, the last issue of Mighty Thor.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I don't know where it's gonna go, and they got a new person. Voyager is her name, and apparently she was one of the founding members of the Avengers, but she got caught in some weird dimensional rift where everybody forgot about her.
Yeah, I think that's going to turn out to be part of the game, part of this game that's going on. I think that that's why Jarvis was taken out intentionally somehow, because he's the only one that's going to say she's not an Avenger. She was never an Avenger. He's been around the longest. Because the girl implies, oh, you've been around so long, Jarvis, and like Wasp is like telling been around or whatever, and is it Wasp that's with him during that part? I think it is.
And what's really it was Nadia Van Dyne. And what's really interesting, if you look at it, the Avengers that are taken out of the equation are Vision, Captain America.
Yeah, all the core guys.
Yeah, like the really
old school.
Like the old school ones. There's a few new ones like Squirrel Girl that were taken out and things like that. But a lot of the original ones that are still around, I mean, the only ones that are still around would be Odin's son.
None of the founding members in that, like the old panels they were showing from the old Avengers comics.
Yeah.
Where they've included her. None of those guys were in this. Like none of those core members that would definitely remember it.
Now,
they've all had planted false memories.
Now I like Hercules is in this. I especially like the part. There's a part in it where they're by a statue of Atlas and it breaks, and the giant globe is like going to crush people, and Hercules is like, anything Atlas can do, Hercules can do better. And he grabs it. He grabs the world and like holds it on his shoulders. I love Hercules, and it has Red Wolf in it, and I love Red Wolf. So
yeah, look at it a little bit. I think it's going to show more of him later on because he wasn't frozen. I don't think, was he? I think maybe he was. But there's a way that we know that the game has frozen them somehow, like either the Mintical or the Grandmaster has frozen the Avengers.
Yeah.
And because when Quicksilver knocks out the Mintical, the Vision wakes up. It like distracts everything, and Vision, they break Vision out of it.
Well, and because Scarlet Witch was also doing her and Bubba Voodoo were working some stuff, which that led me to believe he woke up. Quicksilver gets frozen. That leads me to believe that there is only a certain number of players that can be on the board.
That makes sense. Like, because they said there were obstacles planted, and then like Corvus Glaive, he's like, let's remove all the obstacles ahead of time, and then we'll just so they're kind of like doing like a scorched earth thing on the heroes. They're trying to. Well, that's what they show up and like just fucking blow the shit out of everything.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Constantine real quick though. If anybody wants to go to I want to plug this. If anybody wants to go to our YouTube channel, Nerd Rage Renegades on YouTube, there's a special little like 34 clip little teaser of what's coming back in 2018. Chief saw it before we went on the air.
Yes. It looks like a good intro to me. It looks like it goes good with what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, Renegade Gaming is coming back. The teaser intro for Renegade Gaming is up on YouTube. I made it at like 1 o'clock in the morning last night.
It's a lot of gameplay in it, so that's it shows you what you're going to be looking at.
I didn't sleep last night. I'm running off of pure fucking fumes right now. I did not sleep last night. Chief knows I was spamming his phone for like hours last night because I was up creating.
Yeah, I got a bunch. I got to look at all those. I didn't even look at them yet. I got up. Just what was going on.
Yeah.
I got up. I was up all
so here's
night.
what you got. Here's what you got. Here's what I created last night. Here's what you got. So the show banners I created. One was of course the one for this show that you've all seen, John Constantine. There's one which is going to be, I guess, the show after Cool Beer comes on next week.
Yeah.
Plastic Man. We had talked about doing Plastic Man since he's very important right now in metal.
Yeah, well, and we find out what's cool is we're going to do that later on, but what's cool is you find out why he's so powerful. Like, I've been wanting to know for a long time why Plastic Man is so dangerous and why they keep him in that egg.
They finally revealed.
They reveal why he's a powerhouse.
Then I just created a bunch of like ones that we haven't set in stone yet that these will be shows. We've discussed them, but there's quite a few of them. I even created one, Chief, for Beast Boy.
Hey, awesome! I want to talk about Beast Boy.
Yeah, so I did
one
those.
of my favorites.
I was last night. I couldn't sleep after the Royal Rumble, which I'm gonna wait to talk about the Royal Rumble until Cool Beer is on this next week. Because we know Cool Beer is a big WWE fan, so I'm gonna talk to him about the Royal Rumble and the NXT weekend.
That's kind of been included with the we get the Cool Beer package now. You get wrestling and comics now.
But I was up late, couldn't sleep, so I just went on productive mode and created a Renegade Gaming intro and a shit ton of show banners.
Yeah, there were like 10 of them, man.
There's like 11.
I mean, my phone was muted, so I didn't hear any of it. I got up and looked at my phone on my own volition and just saw them all there. Like, holy shit.
There's a shit ton.
There's a lot of stuff in here.
There's a shit ton. But let's talk about the man of the hour. Let's talk about John Constantine. John Constantine is a character both the Chief and I absolutely love. We feel he was not given the fair shake in his television series.
I'm more of a recent fan of John Constantine's. Like I wasn't into him before, like when Hellblazer was out and all that shit. And I had known him. The extent of my knowledge of Constantine was pretty limited until New 52 brought out the Constantine series, and then it took a while to backtrack and really look at who he is. And then now the new series is good too. I started reading the new one.
Yeah. So Constantine, now I'm going to say the Constantine, there is some really interesting things in his backstory. A lot of interesting things in Constantine's backstory. And Constantine, a lot of people don't realize how long he's actually been around. He's been around since 1984. Yeah,
and I've actually got his first appearance over there somewhere.
The Saga of Swamp Thing, number 25.
Yeah, I've gone back and got a lot of. I've got most of the old Hellblazer series, the original Vertigo one. Mm-hmm. I'm missing a few. I think I'm missing maybe 4 or 5 issues of that because I picked it all up like dirt cheap at like a flea market, like almost the whole run, and I just picked it up in a box.
Yeah. And it's a good run. The Vertigo had some really good imprint. Vertigo was a really good imprint. They had some later on ones that I liked, like Coffin Hill was one that I really, really enjoyed. And we're going to talk about another imprint at some point. We had talked about, because Marvel had an imprint called Star Comics.
Yeah.
And that'll be we're going to talk about that one at length at some point. But with
it was like a kid's line, more or less.
Yeah. But with Vertigo, if you haven't read the comics, you maybe know a lot of the things that came out of Vertigo. The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, which
which crossed over with Constantine and the Sandman have crossed paths before.
Preacher, was a Vertigo title, which of course has been adapted into a television series.